what do you guys think of the Detonator limit? Because this to me kind of came out of nowhere. It's like the TCG
I
has this philosophy with like a boss monster being one of, but uh, as they did with the Rise Heart. But what do you guys think?
I think it's very like reminiscent of the Arise Heart. Like they went limited first, then went banned. At one, it's not gonna completely like ruin the game, not by a long shot. Especially the fact that you can recycle it with Cross as well, so it's not gonna be ruining Ryzeal anytime soon. It makes the matchup more interesting for the sense of it makes defending what you have more like on your board more vulnerable sort of thing, you know?
I think
But
that it has the potential to see the uptick in people actually playing plugin. We did see quite a bit of it at, Houston, but prior there has been, this floating idea of do you play it, do you not, do you plasma hold, do you not? And I think with Detonator going to 1, it is very important to have more ways to recycle it because, if you lose your cross off of something like an SP, or now at this point they could SP away the Detonator, if you have a way to do that without it just popping itself. I think those are very relevant things that you have to consider with Detonator at 1 because you can't just slap a second one on the board. You either have to recycle it with Cross and put it back, or if it gets banished permanently with something like an SP, I think you have something a little harder where you're going to need to play that plugin instead of just relying on your Cross.
Yeah, and I think it's like a super interesting take on because they could have went the way of just X Ryzeal to 1, but instead of like ruining like the creativity with like the Mitsurugi build or something like or like the other builds, they're kind of like seeing the boundaries they can push with like putting Detonator to 1 on top of the semi limits and then also these other structural things such as talents and crossout and dweller being put down for the count. But I personally
I think
welcome. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
I think it's certainly important, with plugin now because now, like I said, if your Detonator gets banished, you need a way to bring it back, and that is what plugin will serve to do. So, it's not the end all be all, but it definitely makes you, think about those deck building choices that maybe you might have, just thrown out the window before. And, so I think forcing the hand in having to play cards like that is super important.